Today I'm going to be making low-fat, reduced sugar cake. Now the first thing we need is an egg. I'm only doing a small cake here. If you want a big cake, double the ingredients. Cracking it. Just get rid of the shell. And calibrate my scale. 100 grams of sugar. Now if you're doing a big cake, 200 grams, but I'm only doing a small one, so 100 grams of sugar. Then we whisk until it's, well, not meringue fluffy, but just so it's a nice thick creamy consistency. I'll show you roughly what it should look like when it's whisked up. I just realised that my computer's in shot there. I don't go looking at what's on my screen. It comes with my banking password or anything. Turn it around. You know what these fishing people are like? It's probably thick enough, just sort of like a thick creamy texture, like that. That's it. Then calibrate it back. Then, as any cake recipe, we need flour. I'm using self-raising flour and 100 grams. Again, if it's a big cake, 200 grams. But I never sieve my flour. You can sieve your flour if you want to, but I just can't be arsed. About 100 grams. Now for this, most people just put it under the whisker again, the mixer. You lose all those air bubbles if you do that. So what you've got to do is you've got to fold the flour in. That way you don't lose as many air bubbles that you just made in the egg. You spent all that time whisking the egg nice and thick and then you fold it. So you don't lose the air bubbles. Takes a bit longer and you can get a bit bored doing it, but hey ho. Yes, that's looking good. Now we're coming up to my secret ingredient. Now this is a real secret. I invented this. Don't tell anyone. What you do is normally in a cake recipe now you would add butter, about 100 grams of butter, but we want this to be low fat. I learned this the other week. What you do, you add a yogurt. Now this is no added sugar, 0% fat, and it's strawberry flavoured, but you won't taste the strawberries in the cake because it's watered down by all the other ingredients. It does the job of the butter because it is a dairy fat, so it does the same thing and it makes it lovely and moist. Trust me. And it's good for your gut because it contains good bacteria. I forget what kind of bacteria it contains, but I might say on it on. Does it say? No, it doesn't say. Does it say on the lid? No, but it contains a bacteria that's good for your gut anyway. El Case Immunitas or something like that. Then you fold that in, and this will make your cake lovely and moist, and it'll do the job of the butter, but because it's reduced fat, no added sugar. I mean, to be honest, you know I added the 100 grams of sugar. You could add 100 grams of powdered sweetener, and then it would be completely sugar-free, even healthier. The only naughty thing then would be the carbs in the flour and any cholesterol that's in the egg. But who cares? A cake is a cake, it's supposed to be naughty. When that's all mixed in and it's nice and sloppy, pour it into a small baking pan. I'm choosing a loaf tin because, you know. And then stick it into a 200 degrees preheated oven. For about, Alexa, 25-minute timer. There's still about 10 minutes left on my timer, and as you can see when you look inside my rather dirty oven that could do with a good clean, I'm rather embarrassed about this, that my cake has risen and it's starting to brown on the edges. I'm fine with it being slightly dark around the edges, but if you don't want the edge of your cake to start to burn while the inside is still raw, a trick is to put tin foil over the top of it. That will still keep it at the 200 degrees, but it will not be direct heat on the surface of the cake, so it won't burn. But I'm going to leave it until the 10 minutes is up because I don't mind it being slightly dark around the edges. I like that different mix of textures as you bite into a slice of cake. Some people don't, I do. Okay, it's time to whip it out of the oven. Here we go. Careful not to burn yourself. Let's try and focus without melting my camera in the heat of the oven. It's looking lovely, isn't it? Let's do the test. Let's shut the oven door. As I always say, turn it off and look after your carbon footprint, whatever that means. Now you know this test, you stick a toothpick or knife into your cake. If it comes out completely dry, it's cooked all the way through. Yes, there we go, it's lovely and spongy. Let's just loosen it around the edges. Leave it to cool, slice it like that. Serve it either with butter smeared on it or just plain as it is. It is a delicious, delicious low-fat cake. Like I say, you won't taste the strawberry in the yoghurt because it's so watered down by all the other ingredients, but if you did want to enhance that flavour that's already there, one suggestion I've done before that works really well is to use a cherry yoghurt and then add extra cherries to it. That's really nice as well. Or a blueberry yoghurt and add a few extra blueberries to enhance the blueberry and make it into almost like a blueberry muffin cake. But just on its own, you really won't taste the strawberries, so don't worry. And the only time I've ever tasted the fruit in a yoghurt when I've used this recipe is when I used a rhubarb yoghurt. I couldn't taste them, but I could feel the strands of rhubarb. Didn't ruin the cake at all, it still tasted bloody good. I'll wait till this baby cools and then we'll cut ourselves off a chunk and sit down and enjoy it with a, I don't know, a cup of tea or coffee, a milkshake, porn star martini. Just look at that, isn't it beautiful? Doesn't it look tasty, delicious, moist, and look how spongy and soft it is. Okay, let's cut a slice. Now trust me, this is delicious. You will not notice that it's got no butter in it. I mean, I've had some cakes before, like dairy-free cakes and gluten-free cakes, and you know, that use different things instead of butter. And still a bit of steam coming out of it there. You should wait for it to cool properly, but I'm so peckish I could murder it now. Yeah, I've had cakes before that have had other alternatives to butter in them, and they've been really horrible. They've tasted really claggy and thick, sort of like a scone. It's horrible. I've got a drink of orange juice just in case, but you won't need it because, dear God, look at that. Look how soft and spongy it is. Still steam coming off it. Yeah, you really do need to wait for it to cool, but I just couldn't wait. Like I said, I like it when you get that sort of darker texture around the edge. It's not burnt, but it's got sort of a firmer texture. And the middle is just so fluffy and light. And even though it's got strawberry yogurt in it, you cannot taste the strawberries. It just tastes like a golden sponge. If you wanted to add vanilla essence, that would be delicious. It would be lovely like vanilla sponge. Beautiful. Now, remember, this recipe is just between you and me. This is our little secret, yeah?